Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cold Open Cup round of 16. We are rolling right along this very exciting weekend, getting right back into the action after a pretty long break. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed their holidays. We have a winner's bracket match here for you guys this wonderful morning or afternoon, depending on where you live. It's got Manip going against Retail Store. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth by none other than Staloeska Els. Emily, how you doing?
Look, I told this, I was like, okay, is it gonna be a stream or not? And then I went to bed, and here I am commentating. But honestly, I am happy that I get to commentate this match. Like, I'd give up going to bed for this. And I'm actually really excited, because typically in winner's bracket, this is where you see, like, more of the players with, like, closer matches and more intensity when it comes to higher scores. But what about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Always excited to see teams going at it, especially when they show up to the match. Always excited to have something to commentate here. And like you were saying, everything's starting to get a little bit closer knit in terms of overall scores. So I think the overlap between teams is starting to converge a little bit to where we might have like a perfect circle in some situations. And who knows, maybe be too close to call and we end up seeing that tiebreaker come out. So very excited to see how these two teams are going to square up against each other. But yeah, for right now, we have our first warm-up on screen. Something quite a bit more difficult than what is to be expected in this pool. But everybody's doing a pretty decent job of navigating through it. I definitely don't want to waste too much stamina in the warm-up, so don't blame some players taking a break halfway through. I think this was featured in Soft 5, if I do recall correctly.
That is correct. It was in Soft 5 playoff stage, and I do not think this is what the skill of Ketsu really is. I don't think any of these players are getting 400k on a map like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was more of a, I don't feel like reading my way through this. The maps aren't going to be this hard, so why stress out about it type of moment. But now we're going to go into something even harder, going straight into just pure LNs. Crazy to see with 5 digits playing LN maps this hard.
Yeah, when I was a 5-digit, I never played anything like this.
Oh,
I
for
didn't
sure.
even like OD0 LNs. They're not the easiest to hit. I mean, sure, it is easy to act them, especially on Scorby 2. Because if this were like Scorby 1, I would be expecting like everyone to get inverse ratio, but since it's Scorby 2, that's not gonna be the case. So I guess I am gonna be expecting these players. I would not be surprised if you see like SS all across the board, especially considering how good 5 digits are now.
Yeah, for sure. I think the overall skill ceiling for what we consider a 5 digit to be a lot higher than in years past, especially over the past like 2 or 3 years in particular. Everybody's had quite a bit of time inside to just kind of lounge around and improve. And yeah, you can see the OD0 coming into effect. So many early releases still being counted as 320s. It's incredible.
Yeah, and you can already tell that the retail store already has a sort of a lead. Oh wow, look, it looks like we have 3 players that can combo through that, despite being 5 digits. And yeah, this is where you get to see how fluid the movements are for each player when it comes to LNs. And surprisingly enough, it looks like everyone is still decently proficient to some extent. Especially, I don't know how you pronounce this, Gahitu Noob.
Yeah, Gaititu Noob. Yeah. It's always fun seeing usernames like this because it's always a challenge for us to try and pronounce it correctly. I'm pretty sure they'll correct us if we're wrong. after the match is over, they get to rewatch this VOD. But so far, highest accuracy in the lobby, 99.5 for them on a map like this is borderline ridiculous. Breaking on the SV, that's to be expected if you're not expecting it. But still, holding on to the 99. And yeah, this is the warm-up, but definitely can instill a bit of fear in your opponents by putting up some nasty scores on warm-ups like this.
Oh man, Inverse is not the easiest skill to pick up, but again, the OD0 is certainly helping them.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
I think if this were like OD6 or 7, we'd see a completely different story. We'd probably see everybody in like that 97, 96 range, so...
Yeah, and we're still seeing like 3 S's across the board, and Ketsu's not even that far behind of an S rank, but I gotta say, this is not really indicative of what Ellen's skill would be among these players, especially since this is... I don't think we're seeing a 5-star in a pool like round of 16, especially for a tournament like this.
No, for sure. Where if there were a 5-star map in round of 16, I'd be fired. Knowing that being said, looks like we're making our way into the last quarter of this warm-up. I think the players already did their roles. Our referee just expediting proceedings a little bit while we're waiting for the stream to get started. So I think the first pick is going to go over to Retail Store. They put a 92 versus a 14 from Manip Gong. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to do protects first or second.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We'll have to wait and see how that goes into place. Oh, I was like, why did the lead suddenly change? But I guess Ketsu just ultimately stopped playing altogether.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, this is pushing the limit of the max length of the warm-ups. Don't want to waste your stamina playing through this if you don't have to, so... That, or maybe just trying to hide the score a little bit. See if they think this might be a bit of information being given away, but... Regardless, I'll just go through the members of both teams, so we're well acquainted with them. Manip Gong is staffed by 3 of the 4 players you see on screen. Merlin 69420H, Prof Helmet, and Gaiti2 Noob are going to be on the side of Manip Gong, and on the side of Retail Store, we've got Ketsu, Trido2, and Pixel Yoshi. I think the other 2 are off screen playing through the warm-ups as well.
Oh, I guess here we go. This is where the roles will start to go in.
Yeah, the roles already went through. Retail Store won those. So they get the opportunity to ban first or protect first. And here we can see the new map pool up on screen. Round of 16 coming through. Added a rice map and a hybrid to the pool. And it looks like Retail Store will be banning first, so Manip Gong going to have an opportunity to protect.
Okay, so I guess Manip Gong is gonna be protecting first. So you did say this is a winner's bracket match, right?
Yes, it is a winner's bracket match, so no real consequence.
Yeah, that's true, but you still ideally would want to stay in the winner's bracket. Although Retail Store is seeded 17 and Manip Gong would be 32nd. So I would expect Retail Store to protect an Ellen release map, but definitely not an Ellen density, at least basing it off their qualifiers. And as for Manip Gong, I'm expecting them to protect actually probably the Ellen density pick, or maybe even a Rice if they're willing to risk it. But Retail Store is also really good at Rice, so we'll have to see. So it looks like
looks like it'll be Rice 4 getting protected here from Manip Gong. Tenchi Kurin not going to be allowed to be banned from this pool. Be interested to see what the reply is from Retail Store. Gonna throw out the protect and the ban in quick succession.
Okay, so Tenshikorin. I forgot what this map was like, but I think it was the Jackie one, or I think I'm thinking of Blessing Snow actually. But oh, so Rice 4 and Rice 6. Reflective Moment is an interesting protect because this is one of those maps where if you miss, it's essentially game over for you unless the other team misses as well, because there's very few chances to catch up. But then again, there is a lot of chokeable parts there, like the triple jacks.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a bit of a high roller pick, but if you have the players that can handle some of the techier elements in it, definitely worth keeping around. And Hybrid 2 going to be the first ban getting knocked out here, so Cyber Connect not going to be played in this match.
So, oh, looks like we have LN2 and Hybrid 2 back. That's interesting. I think LN2 would make sense if it was Real Store banning it, though. So, this is an interesting turn of events, at least.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, unsurprising that at least one of the two teams wants to get rid of some of the LN in this pool. Definitely see some of the widest fluctuations in scores when it comes to the LNs and hybrids. So, with that being out of the way, Retail Store will be up to pick first. Be interested to see how they want to get this match started off.
That's just so they'll be picking first. I think they could technically go for the LN release pick. Actually, I would not be surprised if they do that. But at the same time, I would not be surprised if they pick a very difficult Rice map. So probably something like the Crimson Empire, or maybe even Blessing Snow could work for them.
Yeah, there's definitely some avenues that they can approach this on. And it looks like it's going to be Rice 6. So Reflective Moment going to be coming out right out of the gate.
That is very interesting. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this was their protect. You usually don't see that. Like, you usually don't pick your protect first, because at least the way I see it is, these are the kind of picks that you'd want to be having when you're in like a very bad situation, or at least when you want to close the game out. Because those are like the best moments where you could use that. But at the end of the day, securing your first point isn't a bad start either. It's just not exactly the only option that's out there.
Yeah, for sure. I think this one might just be a way to maybe set the tempo a little bit, establish a bit of a foothold in the match right out of the gate. Maybe something that they're intimately comfortable with, that they feel like, regardless of what happens with the other team, they're able to put up consistent scores on.
I really, really hope both teams are able to keep their full combos on.
Yeah, that's going to be very important. But if we do see some breaks, we're basically going to see how the score discrepancy fluctuates between the two teams. And it looks like we have the two teams on screen. For Manip Gong, it's going to be Prahelme and Gaitito Noob. And for Retail Store, it's going to be Pixel Yoshi and Ketsu going at it. So, best of luck to all the players. First team to 5 points will be keeping their winners bracket run alive. And whoever loses will be just dropping down into that lower bracket. Not too big of a deal, but you definitely want to keep that winners bracket run going as long as humanly possible as we wait for Ketsu to load in here.
Well, shouldn't this be? I feel like it should be. Okay, wait, no, sorry about that. I did not catch that. I was like, what's this going on? But anyways, here we go.
Alrighty, pretty solid starts all across the board. All four players managing their way through this introduction relatively cleanly. Some accuracy drops here and there, but very early on, definitely not the most punishable. Right now, Manip Gong holding on to the very slightest of advantages just based on average accuracy being higher off the back of Guy Noob. At that 99.8 range, probably doing everything that they can to support, but dropping down into that low 99% range. A couple of 200s coming out on the Jacks. Gonna be damaging their overall score and handing the lead back over to Retail Store here.
So here we go, some sort of a break section. But this is definitely no slouch as well. Like, these patterns are very uncomfortable, especially with the fundamentals that you need to have so you could keep the combo and the accuracy up there, which I believe everyone is essentially almost tied, with the exception of the big difference that Ketsu and Plar Helmi have. I did see a 200 on Plar Helmi, so that's not a good sign already. But Ketsu is slowly dropping there, although more has to be done if Manip Gong wants the point.
Yeah, for sure. We got some cross-map battles going on right now. As you were saying, Ketsu going against Brawlhelmet, Gaitito Noob going up against Pixel Yoshi, and right now, Pixel Yoshi and Ketsu holding off their counterparts for the moment as the map comes to an end, and a 7,000 point victory to kick things off here. A pretty decent team score here, 980k average across the board. Retail Store picking up their first point, making it 1-0.
That's not. Well, okay, so never mind. I guess the colors were just wrong on stream, because this was actually Retail Store's pick. And now Manip Gong's the one to select next. I was about to say that it was a breakpoint, but I stand corrected.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I just barely noticed that, so immediately corrected. Thank you to our streamer for taking care of that. And going from one protect to another. Okay, Manip Gong going for their own protect here.
I guess answering a protect with another protect could work, but again, like what I've been saying, it's not exactly the only option. But if it's what your team feels like is appropriate, you may as well go with it. But you have to know as well what consequences could be had if you immediately waste the comfortable picks that your team has. Because just because if the other team is wasting it, doesn't mean your team has to do it as well. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely don't need to follow the trend, but kind of the same way as Retail Store picking their protect first right out of the gate. Just something that you're very comfortable with. Know that you can get a pretty decent team score on, regardless of what the other team does. Can definitely get you off to the right foot, and it just becomes a battle of consistency after that. So we'll see if Manip Gong can respond to Retail Store's first point, get one of their own, or Retail Store can pick up a break point to start this match off. And right out of the introduction, we do see a bit of an accuracy drop from Ketsu here, slowly starting to climb their way back up, and a break on the transition into some of these LNs. Gonna jump down to that low 99% range and gonna give Manip Gong a bit of a cushion to work with. It's still before F100 combo cap, so not too much damage going to be done, but definitely some work needed to be done here on the side of Retail Store for the moment.
Yeah, that was a bad miss, but luckily it wasn't the start. So the thing is, on maps like this, typically they don't really have that much combos, so you won't be able to like catch up to that 400 combo mark that fast, and just somehow be able to regain it with your accuracy lead. But with that being said, Ketsu's act is not even on the same pace as Plar Helmi, but it is certainly catching up, which I think means that one miss from Manip Gong is gonna cost it, but Retail Store unfortunately loses all of its full combos, which will just give the lead more onto Manip Gong's side.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. We saw that road to recovery from Ketsu going strong, starting to make a bit of a dent in that lead from Manip Gong, but that drop from Pixel Yoshi is pretty much gonna seal the deal for this pick, unless we see couple of chain misses coming out from Manip Gong this late on into the map. But right now, this accuracy from Gaitito Noob is ridiculous 99.8 for them right now, keeping everybody else at bay as another drop coming out from Ketsu basically makes things go from bad to worse for the side of Retail Store. They were out of it from the get-go, and now this is certainly the point handed over to Manip Gong.
Yeah, well, it is gonna be handed over. These streams, I don't think they're gonna be too harmful for Manip Gong. I don't expect any misses to happen, which they don't. Amazing score from the team. And either way, even if, let's say, Retail Store had 2 FCs, I doubt it would have been their win anyway. But talk about a V1 double S on a kind of map like that.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty decent way to answer back to losing that first point, getting it all squared up now. Now it's basically what, best of 7? Now that they're tied 1-1.
So I think Retail Store could opt to try Mirror if they want to keep on going like with the pace and what's not. But I would suggest avoiding something like Fascinating Cat's Eye, like at least basing it on the qualifier statistics. Because from what I've seen, at least, their LN density could be a little bit behind in comparison to their LN release. And a team like Manip Gong could capitalize on LN density, actually.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. That, or they can just stick with the rice, everything left on the board, basically consistency tests in one way or another. I think the only outlier left is Blessing Snow, where they were Jack oriented, not a full core Jack map, but definitely enough to put people off. And it looks like it is going to be Mirror coming out here. So LN1 going to be the choice for Retail Store.
And here we go, Mirror. As I've said, this is exactly what they would be picking, because LN release seems to be what their forte would be in comparison to LN density.
Yeah, for sure. This one quite literally lives up to the name of consistency. This is not really a lot of tricks thrown at you. It's really just, are you comfortable playing almost 3 minutes of pure LN?
It's 3 minutes of that could really be tiring. And again, like what I've said in the warm-ups, back then, like, it's not really typical to see a 5-digit LNs, unlike right now, where you can see that there's a variety of skill sets that these players are capable of nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely seeing a lot more well-rounded players, at least in a tournament setting, very early on. Speaks well to if they progress from here, maybe move on to some harder tournaments. We'll be able to survive maybe just that little bit longer compared to years past. But with that being said, looks like we are loaded in. Had some substitutions. Merlin 69420 coming in for Manip Gong, and Trido2 coming in for Retail Store to contest on LN1. Ooh, and an early drop.
That was a very awkward miss too. Like, you'd expect the miss on the LNs, not on the break section.
Yeah, that's probably either a double tap or maybe just one of those, like, you're over focusing on the LNs, you forget to read one of the notes. But yeah,
Good
basically
news.
missing on air.
Yeah, the good news is Merlin's accuracy isn't actually that up to par with Trido too. In fact, Helmi has a lower accuracy, but as I said, Trido drops again. That may have indeed been a double tap. But the thing is, this lead isn't as big as I expected it to be so far. It's mainly because the accuracy really is just in Retail Store's favor by a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Manip Gong really riding off those 2 breaks from Trido 2 for the moment. Pixel Yoshi head and shoulders above everybody else, 2/10 ahead of their nearest competitor in Trido 2 and Pro Helmet, but Trido constantly dropping right now, not helping Retail Store's overall score for the moment. Going to be handing this lead even further to Manip Gong. They're going to need to find a break in this back half if they want to try and hand this lead back over, but so far the consistency being very good on the side of Manip Gong. I don't think they've found a break in any of the maps so far.
This is such a good score from Pixel Yoshi. It's just really unfortunate that the misses happen.
Yeah, this would be a very different story if they still had 2 FCs left on the board. Last quarter of the map still to go. Anything can still happen. Things start to get a little harder to read through, especially since you've been doing this for the better part of 2 minutes. The concentration is really going to start to get tested here. And the fact that even though Trido has a plethora of misses at the moment, they still have a higher overall accuracy than some of the players on Manip Gong. So if any of the Manip Gong players find a break in this last bit, can definitely start to swing things over in an instant, but there's not a lot of map left to go here. It is still Pixel Yoshi ahead of Prong Helme and Trido 2 ahead of Merlin, but the fact that Trido is the only player without an FC in this lobby, going to be handing over the lead and the first breakpoint in this match to Manip Gong to make it 2-1.
It's really those misses that gave it away. I mean, look at the ratio. You can already tell that Trido has the best ratio out of everyone in the lobby. But once again, those 2 combo breaks out of the 50s and that 1 miss certainly gave it away to Manip Gong. It's a very unfortunate way to start, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Yeah, as you can tell, it was just a stream of very, very unfortunate misses.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but you gotta pick yourself up, shake it off. Definitely still quite a bit of match to play through. You know you might have that ratio advantage on the LN, so maybe the hybrids open themselves up as a bit of an avenue of attack for a Retail Store moving forward. There are only so many rice charts that Manip Gong can go into that they can't risk finding breaks on, so be interesting to see how they adjust moving forward. But with that being said, it is Manip Gong's next pick, and it is going to be Rice 3 coming out, so Blessing Snow going to be the option for them to capitalize on this breakpoint.
Here we go. Blessing Snow is a very interesting choice in general. I do think that when it comes to physicality, there could be an advantage for a team like a Retail Store. But Manip Gong, knowing that the other team has choked, they probably took that into account because this one was no slouch to FC as well. Because in the previous match that I commentated, there were like a few misses that happened on the opposing team that almost gave it away to the other one. But once again, this isn't Trido 2 in there anymore. It is Ketsu once again, and I believe Ketsu had like a really good FC on the first map, so I'm not sure how this one would go.
Yeah, it remains to be seen, and we do see basically the Rice squads coming back in for both sides. Gaitito Noob coming in for Manip Gong and Ketsu coming in for Retail Store. It looks like the mainstays for both squads are going to be Pro Helme and Pixel Yoshi, so be interesting to see how their little squabbles are going to go as we make our way through this introduction. And Retail Store picking up a bit of an accuracy advantage right out of the gate here, 99.7 and 99.8 apiece compared to the 199.7 on the side of Manip Gong. Pro Helmet, they need to pick up the pace a little bit here to try and make some inroads in this lead as they cross that 400 combo cap.
Yeah, Gahiritu Noob is doing really well, matching Pixel Yoshi. In fact, but Ketsu's lead up against Player Helmi is certainly helping. In fact, it's basically what the lead is right now. It's basically Ketsu versus Player Helmi. Gahiritu Noob and Pixel Yoshi are literally the same accuracy right now. until I think he got a 200.
Yeah, it's very hard to find good ratio on a map like this, especially the fact that it's OD9, really testing the accuracy of all players involved, as we see a couple of joiners getting traded out on some of these LM releases. Definitely gotta make sure you don't chop those off. They're not the most trivial, but can definitely trip you up if you're not ready, as we see things start to tie up just a little bit here. A bit of a drop from Pixel Yoshi brings them down to the level Gaiti Noob, and Prokhelme has brought their accuracy back up to contest against Ketsu now. It's only a couple hundred points separating these two teams going to the last quarter of the map.
Oh my goodness, this is making me really nervous. Ketsu dropping some more act. In fact, it's matching Prokhelme. Pixel Yoshi matching Gaiti Noob. There is a small lead on Prokhelme against Ketsu and Gaiti Noob against Pixel Yoshi, so we'll have to see by the end. Oh my god, I can't take this. It's still a difficult...
This is 200% separating both these two teams. It is literally a virtual tie between all four players involved. This is going to come down to, I would say, inside of 1,000 points. The lead is flickering as we get into the last couple of notes, last couple of releases. Oh my goodness!
307 points! Look at this! Wait.
God.
Look at this! Ketsu has a 0.02 advantage against Prokhelme. Gaiti Noob has a 0.03% advantage against Pixel Yoshi. Gaiti Noob gave it! That 0.03 gave it. Gave them a 0.01% victory. Basically a 0.01% victory. That's what it was.
100% separating these two teams. 300 points. That is literally just 1/200. Either way could have swung this in either team's favor.
I screamed very loud that I think my family was not happy with that. I'm so sorry.
Oops. Hopefully they're not too angry about that, but...
Don't worry, they're not.
Okay. it is going to be Manip Gong capitalizing on their breakpoint here by the slimmest of margins. We have had tighter matches, but the fact that this is already round of 16 and the fact that they were inside of 100% is very close overall. Playing with fire a little bit here as Retail Store is up to pick next, and I don't know about you, but I see them taking a bit of a risk and going with like LN3 here to try and maybe cause some discomfort amongst the Manip Gong players.
I'm just gonna say this. Either way, risk is a risk. You kind of have to take one now. Like, if there's a time where you must absolutely have to just stack up the cards and see how well it falls, it's definitely now, because it's a 3-1 lead. If you just keep on a straightforward path, I don't think it's going to be... I just don't think anything's gonna change. But now, you have to take a risk and just hope that you'll be able to outperform the opponent at some point in the match. That's essentially all you have to do.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like it's going to be Hybrid 3 coming out.
Risks.
Players asking for free mod probably want to put on Mirror here. May prefer the patterns on the offhand. There are some definite rough streams to read through. Very staircase oriented, so maybe wanting to start the rolls off going one way over the other. Definitely very much preferred, so looks like we're going to see Trido 2 come back in for Retail Store. And now we're in the hybrids. Looks like Manip Gong going to keep Gaiti Noob and Prokhelme together for the moment. And it's going to be MP mods. It's a capital, or it's a plural, in case the command is not working.
Oh no, what mods is happening? I'm pretty sure it's MP mods. MP mods! Free mod.
Yeah,
not MP mod.
Yeah, it's MP mods. It's funny because the copy paste is in the ref sheet. Yeah. Just needed a little S. We do a little typoing in the morning. But with that being said, looks like players are going to be able to turn on Mirror should they so please. Yeah, we do a little sleep deprivation. This fine second weekend of 2023. With that being said, we are just waiting on the players to get ready here.
All right, here we go. I think we're just waiting for everything to start.
Yeah, it's basically anticipation's building. See if Manip can force a match point situation here, or if Retail Store can start picking up where they left off. Unfortunately, I gave away that breakpoint, but definitely not out of it just yet. There's definitely enough maps left for them to try and capitalize on any potential mistakes from Manip. Yeah, the MP Star Command comes out. Players are ready. We're going to get into this 5th map of this best of 9.
All right, here we go. 3 minutes is a pretty long duration in general, so at least for a pick like this, Trido would be able to capitalize on the accuracy more than ever, because if you think about it, the previous pick was pretty short, which is why Trido's misses mattered so much more. But on something like this, I don't think it would be that damaging. I mean, of course, it would still be hurtful, but it wouldn't be as damaging as before, and the control would certainly be much better here.
Yeah, for sure. There's enough LN to keep you on your toes, but overall, very rice-heavy pick, which is probably why Manip kept Gaiti to noob in here to try and contest. And right now it looks like everybody's holding steady. Not a lot of things to try and throw you off here. It's all very 1-2, 1-4 based very early on, but Trido 2 going to be picking up a couple 200s, going to damage their accuracy, give the lead over to Manip for the moment as they make their road to recovery and the streams start to come out, and trying to keep your consistency on these is going to be of the utmost importance if you want to try and get a good team score overall.
And you can already tell, unfortunately, Trido getting some 200s, that is better than getting misses, however. So luckily, combo should not be too bad of a problem for Retail Store.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely improvable from here. Things start to calm down just a little bit, go back into that 1-2 patterning that they were used to before the stream started to come out. That's really where the bulk of the damage came from. And right now, everybody's settling into that 99.7 range, at least on the side of Manip. Pixel Yoshi finding a bit of an accuracy drop as well. Going to be able to climb back up before too long. But for right now, the bulk of this lead just based on overall accuracy discrepancies between the two players from Manip and Trido 2. As we jump back into the chorus and back into those streams, so far all 4 players keeping their full combos intact going into the last third of the map, but it starts to pick up in terms of density and in terms of what the map is demanding of you in this back half. So still remains to be seen, not out of the woods just yet. If you are on the side of Manip, cannot afford to relent this late on into the map.
Right now, the gap is not too big, actually. Although, Manip is just having a really good run for both players. 99.7 all across the board for both players there. It's really impressive. But Trido is catching up really fast, so this could be changed if someone from Manip misses.
Yeah, you'd imagine that a singular miss will immediately propel this lead back over to the blue side. But for right now, these last couple of streams coming out, no breaks from the side of Manip, and as things stay, things start to get a little bit tricky here at the end. Got to be able to manage these streams in between the LNs. A couple of 200s coming out here from Yai22, but Pixel Yoshi finds a choke at the very end, and that is going to seal the deal. Manip makes it match point and makes it 4-1 off the back of 2 beautiful FCs.
If there was one player you'd want to miss, it was one of the players in Manip, but unfortunately the opposite was the one that happened. Man, I gotta say though, Manip Gong has been on a tear right now. Like, think about it. This is, if I'm not mistaken, seed 32, which is like really insane, especially considering that this is already round of 16, and you're up against a team that's seeded 17th. That's just really impressive to see how they've gone.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe struggled a little bit on the harder rice charts in the qualifiers, but as you dial back the overall difficulty, it really brings some of those more accuracy-oriented players to life, and that might just be what we're seeing here. Sure, maybe not world-beating scores, but all you need is your overall team score to be higher than the one across from you, and they're doing the job here against Retail Store. The consistency not being there on their side, despite having some pretty competitive scores overall. And now that it is Manip Gong's pick, there isn't really anything left that's too tricky on the right side. It's all just consistency. Could see something like Cocoa Water Slide coming out here if they want to try and just harp on the physical aspect of charts. That or perspective, actually, as I start saying that, it is going to be the fascinating cat's eye coming out. I think you were alluding to this earlier for Retail Store picking LN1 over LN3 because Manip Gong might be the ones better at the overall LN density. And here it comes.
Oh man, wow. As you're saying that, looks like Manip Gong is going to be picking LN3. This is a huge risk, but I think it could pay off if it really goes the way I expect it to be.
Yeah, for sure. So, probably going to see a substitution here from Manip Gong. Probably going to see Merlin coming back in for Gaititu if things are going to go the way we were expecting in terms of team composition. They did play LN1, see if they're comfortable enough to play LN3. And sure enough, right on cue, Gaititu Noob departs. Probably going to see Merlin come in to round out this Manip Gong lineup. And Retail Store already have their LN composition in place. Trido2 and Pixel Yoshi up to bat on what is potentially their last map in the winner's bracket.
I mean, take note, it is winner's bracket, so luckily no one is going to be eliminated just yet.
Yeah, for sure. So, not the worst of fates for either of these two teams, but you definitely want to keep that winner's bracket run alive if at all possible. It looks like the players are ready. We are going to get into the sixth map of this best of 9 Manip Gong on match point Retail Store. They need to take 2 break points and a pick of their own to force the tiebreaker here to keep their winner's bracket run alive. Let's see how they do.
This is the pick that could potentially save Retail Store from possibly still fighting for a spot on the winner's bracket. But right now, it does seem to be working because look at Merlin's accuracy at the 98.7, which is not a good start, but the keyword, as I've said, is start. Better to kind of fumble at the beginning rather than miss in the very crucial core section.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely recoverable here, but it is going to give Retail Store a bit of an advantage to work with here. 98.8 for Merlin. Pearl Helmet not too far behind. 99.2 for them. Both players from Retail Store having better overall accuracy. So being able to keep those release timings in check, it's really going to come down to whether or not they can hold on to the full combos as a team. Because so far this match, that has been the story. Retail Store finding unfortunate breaks here and there, and the consistency from Manip Gong keeping them afloat when they might be outmatched in terms of ratio to their Retail Store counterparts. As we make our way into the back half of the map, the lead is only going to extend further. It's cresting about 10,000 points at the moment as we see 200 getting traded across the board here.
I'm really surprised to see how Trido has, like, they had some pretty rough maps performances on the previous ones, but looks like they're making a sort of redemption right now, and that's exactly what the team needs them to do.
Yeah, for sure. From finding those couple of misses on the maps that they were called in upon. Oh, and they find a slider break. But
that was painful. But is there enough time?
It's still a
And
quarter map.
that was a 200 from Trido. That's not gonna help in any way.
The thing that's keeping them afloat is the fact that they have the highest accuracy in this lobby, so they're able to tank one of those misses, but the lead is starting to shrink as we make our way into the last eighth of the map. It's really up to Pixel Yoshi to keep their heads above water at the moment as Trido finds another couple of 200s. Gonna damage their accuracy a little bit further. Prochelme has recovered to try and contest here, but it's really off the back of Merlin finding the break. Oh,
that seals the deal. That
Yeah.
seals the deal. Unless Retail Store finds 2 breaks, that seals the deal for Manip Gong to lose this point. And a break point at that for Retail Store, this was so important to them. I am at a loss for words. This was not the pick that I was expecting them to take. And what a way to do it. Try it with the best ratio and 200 count once again. I mean, actually, only the best ratio was consistent because in the previous Ellen pick, they had one of the higher 200 counts actually. But wow, they really made a redemption in that one.
Yeah, for sure. So one breakpoint secured. Still going to need to get that second one. With that being said, there's only hybrid 1 and a slew of rice charts left on the board. It is Retail Store's pick. They're going to need to win this to try and keep their winner's bracket run alive. But what do you go into here? Do you go into consistency rice? Do you go into speed? Or do you go into this last hybrid? And Trido 2 was playing with no audio.
Oh my god, what a way! That was a very confident pick for. Well, that was a very confident performance for both of the players in Retail Store.
That is very impressive overall. That I don't know if maybe their like headset came disconnected, their speakers turned off, or if that was just a power move, but that is impressive nonetheless. Huh, the song just didn't play. Okay. It happens. I've definitely seen that happen before. I think one time in Soft 6 last year, the offset on one of the maps was off by like 100 milliseconds, and somebody didn't update their map in time, and they had to play it with that 100 millisecond offset. But with that being said, Retail Store are going to need to find a pick here.
Actually, I'm not sure what they could select. I don't think I'd want them to pick Hybrid 1, especially considering that they lost Hybrid 3. Probably something like... Okay, map ads time. Probably map ad. Probably, let's pick... Do we pick the map ads?
I'm
You
not
know what
sure.
I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Oh boy, this is a very crucial decision. This is Retail Store's last pick, whether they want it or not. Not going to have an opportunity to make a second decision after this. It's going to be Rice 5. It's going to be Perspective coming out here. Going a bit of light stamina.
Just realized there are 2 of your maps in this pool.
Yeah.
Oh my... Oh yeah, well there we go. There we go. Map ads time. Map ads time.
Yeah, coming soon. But yeah, it's going to be Perspective here. It's going to be the longest map in this pool, barring the tiebreaker. Not the hardest overall in terms of difficulty. It's just more of, can you keep a consistent jump stream going for 3 minutes? Yeah, we have the 2 Rice Wads coming in, Prochelme and Pixel Yoshi, the anchors of both their respective teams. Gaiti and Noob going to be backing up Manip Gong, and Ketsu going to be trying to keep Retail Store afloat in this match. Let's see how they do. Looks like 3 of our 4 players have loaded into this map. Gonna see if we can get Ketsu in here. Gonna have a bit of a quiet replay of the start. Everybody's synced up, and away we go. Ketsu going to get to Noob at the moment through this introduction. Proclame and Pixel Yoshi picking up some damage on that introduction. Some non-intrusive LNs, but enough to cause a bit of damage here out of this introduction. And here we go. This is basically the entirety of the map, just nothing but pure jump stream for the next 3 or so minutes. As we make our way into the first chorus, it is going to be Retail Store still keeping up the advantage. Gaitito Noob picking up a couple of 200s here. Next closest competitor, Ketsu, as well, picked up a little bit of damage. But the discrepancy between Pixel Yoshi and Proclame basically too high at the moment.
I am so sorry about that.
You're A-okay here.
Moment, it does look like Retail Store has the accuracy advantage by a sizable margin. I'm assuming Player Helmi had a pretty rough start.
Yeah, a couple of 200 drops in the introduction, and overall, I think just the overall ratio from them just picking up a lot of 300s here, maybe hitting on the early side as they try and compose themselves, maybe keep that full combo in check as we make our way into the back half of the map.
And slowly but surely, Retail Store is kind of running away with it. It's really the difference between Player Helmi and Ketsu. But then again, even one drop from Retail Store is not going to be enough to offset the difference that this makes already.
Yeah, we have a similar situation to Fascinating Cat's Eye, where I think they've built up enough of a buffer to tank through a singular miss. It just really it really comes down to who finds the miss if they were to drop. But as we make our way into the last quarter of the map, Gaitito Noob has found their way back into this match a little bit, coming up to contest against Pixel Yoshi. So cross map battle once again as we get into a bit of a break here. Ketsu and Proclame. Ketsu winning that battle between the two of them. As we make our way into the last 8th of the map, it's just another gauntlet of jump stream to run through.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, Player Helmi kind of increased that accuracy, but I think it's a little bit too late now as I see another 200 drop.
Yeah, you just got to keep the full combo at this point. Can't afford to blink, can't afford to open that window of opportunity for your opponents here. And last little bit of map left to go. It comes down to some broken jump stream here at the end. There isn't a lot of score left to be handed out, and as we get into this outro, it looks like Retail Store is going to keep themselves alive for yet another pick here. Gonna need to take that last break point to force a tiebreaker and Manip gong. I mean, it was looking good at the beginning. Up 4-1. It is now 4-3.
Oh wow, look at that 150. That 150 could have changed everything.
Yeah, if it had been a break, we would have had a completely different story, but not to be the case here. And we move on. Last pick from Manip gong to try and close this out. I can see fluctuation coming out here, actually. Don't want to risk it on Coco. Don't want to risk it on the Crimson Empire.
I would probably want to suggest fluctuation, but after that performance in the Fascinating Cat's Eye, I am not sure if I'll be confident, but okay, there we go.
Yeah, Hybrid 1, stick to what you know. Don't go into a bit of that ratio battle. I think Parkelme might not be comfortable with going into ratio battles against Retail Store in this regard. So this is arguably the most important pick in this match. We either go to tiebreaker or we end this match here and now.
I can tell both teams are really nervous right now.
Oh, absolutely. can imagine from the side of Manip going, trying to get over the fact that this was pretty much sealed 2 maps ago. And if you're on the side of Retail Store, the adrenaline of trying to make this comeback can definitely start to wear away at you. And it really just comes down to composure.
Taking a breather is very important, especially in cases like this. I can tell, like, I have a feeling Manip Gong is really nervous because having the 4-1 advantage only to be thrown away is definitely something that is kind of painful. I've experienced leads like that and I know how it feels, but the only thing I can say is it really is what it is at this point. And no matter how bad things go, it doesn't exactly mean it's over just yet.
Yeah, for sure. So, gotta shake off the last couple of maps. All that stands between you and victory is one more hybrid. And it looks like it's gonna be Ketsu and Gaitito Noob staying in for this one. Maybe the Rice patterning not favoring Trido 2 all that well. While I bring somebody in a little bit more Rice accurate in the form of Ketsu here. But so far, the anchors of both teams running through every single map, something to be commended as well. Looks like the players are ready. Our referee setting up another match. There's one starting in literally a minute.
I can't wait to. I really can't wait for this. I'm actually really nervous right now.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we either go to tiebreaker or we end this match here and now. Retail Store needing to win this to go into fragments. Manip Gong needing to win this to keep their winners bracket run alive without having to face that dreaded tiebreaker.
Yeah, ideally you would not want to be in a tiebreaker for either side unless like it's a part of your strategy.
Yeah, I can only see going to tiebreaker as a strategy if you feel like you're incredibly overmatched against your opponent, but these two have been in lockstep with each other every step of the way. Sure, a couple of fumbles here and there, but overall, able to go toe-to-toe against each other on a variety of maps. There hasn't really been that real Rice versus LN battle that we love to talk about so much. And as we make our way through the first quarter of the map, it is Manip Gong holding on to a very slender advantage off the back of Gaitito Noob's 99.75. Able to keep Pixel Yoshi at bay, but for right now, Parhelme and Ketsu virtually tied on the other side.
And the lead, oh my god, there's no lead right now.
There is no lead.
Like, look at this. It's the same situation as that one map where it was like 0.01% difference. Where there's a small lead for Parhelme against Ketsu, but there's also a small lead for Pixel Yoshi against Gaitito Noob.
This is way too close to call. It is a bit of a wider margin between Ketsu and Parhelme, but that can change in an instant. Some of these patterns get very ridiculous. It's a very technical map overall. As we transition into the last third of the map, it is Pixel Yoshi holding on to that 200% advantage over Gaitito Noob, and right now it is Parhelme basically lending their support to Gaitito at the moment. 0.1% over Ketsu as we make our way into the last quarter of the map. Cannot afford to blink, cannot afford to drop any 200s this late on into the map. A break this late would be devastating for either of these two teams.
Sparky, not now, not now. Oh my god, my heart is already so nervous. If there was one drop, it would definitely be fatal. These drills are really difficult and some sort of anchors, but it doesn't look like anyone's gonna drop. It's still really close, but I think Manip Gong is gonna take it. Oh my god, it's by the slightest of margins. I see it, but unfortunately, it's not gonna be enough.
Imagine seeing it and not winning. Oh, that is how it is sometimes. A 4,000 point victory to close things out on fluctuation. And Manip Gong is going to keep their winners bracket run alive, going to quarterfinals by a score of 5-3. Oh, what a match. Some very, very close calls for Manip, but able to pull it through in the end to make it to the winner's bracket. Not the end of the line for Retail Store, we'll just be dropping down into that lower bracket.
This is so impressive from Manip Gong, by the way. Like, the 32nd seed on quarterfinals, I don't... That's kind of unheard of, actually.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely very commendable, and looks like they're going to be going against Bob in the quarterfinals. That is going to be a very exciting matchup. Meanwhile, on the lower bracket, Retail Store is going to be playing the winner. Oh, that's a very long name that I don't know.
We'll just have to wait for that, I guess.
Yeah, we'll wait to see once the losers bracket gets clarified. There's still a lot of conditional matches left to get through this weekend, so interesting to see who they end up going against in the quarterfinals. But with that being said, looks like we do have another match coming up here. It is going to be Team Catboy going against Netka Hunters here.
And I sure hope to... I am pretty sure there will be a commentator swap here.
Yes, I do believe so. But with that being said,
making sure. Let's just make sure for now. But just gonna say, for the meantime, go ahead, Sparky.
I was gonna say, in the meantime, we'll take a bit of a break here, get everything situated. I think we're still trying to get the players in the lobby for this match, and once we do, we'll definitely notify you guys when the match is live, should we have it. So don't touch that dial. We'll be back in, hopefully, cross our fingers, a couple of minutes.